Most of these questions are directed at John. They want to know how he really feels about Joel Osteen.
He did prevaricate a lot.
You know, I love it when I hear questions that I've never heard before in my whole life, which is, you know, we've been listening to the same questions for 50 years, and, well, at least I have, you haven't. But, and when you get a new one, it's really exciting. So, John, you'll like this, because you have never heard this one before.
No, I thought the answer the R.C. Sproul gave was pretty funny. But, you know, it's so interesting of how many questions we have today, having questions that have been answered for so long. A lot of you might not know this, but I do Bible streams on Twitch, Jesus Hype 116. And man, it's just interesting how many similar questions I get. You know, sometimes I believe they're definitely sincere, and sometimes I think they might be just more of a gotcha kind of thing. But man, I just throughout my Christian life, I have had people have objections to Christianity or questions about Christianity that can be solved today with a 5-minute Google search. I mean, have y'all had this kind of experience? Oh man, I kind of find it funny on stream too. Like, some people ask me questions, I think expecting that I would know nothing about it. And I've had people ask me about Elisha and the she-bears and the ewes and everything. And I think each time I've answered that, I go straight to the passage and do a quick exegesis on it. And I think they're surprised, like, wait, what on earth? Someone's actually studied this passage? Yeah. Or at one time I had someone come up in the chat and, you know, they say that the Bible has contradictions in it. And it's like, okay, well, what is your number one contradiction? I think that's what I said. And so the supposed contradiction that he mentioned was with the creation counts in Genesis 1 and Genesis 2. And man, I was like, man, you can honestly figure that out with a 5-minute Google search. And so hopefully I wasn't too harsh with this, but I told him, it's like, you know, I honestly don't believe you think very seriously about your beliefs if this is what you bring up. Because, man, there are way better objections than that I could bring up. Now, none of them I believe hold any water, but I definitely think there are perhaps more convincing things you might bring up. And it makes me think of 1 Peter 3:15, which says, "But in your hearts honor Christ Lord as holy, always being prepared to make a defense to anyone who asks you for a reason for the hope that is in you. Yet do it with gentleness and respect." And you know, though I do believe I have answers to a lot of questions, man, there's a lot more answers that I want to be able to make more articulately. You know, I feel like it's not just knowing what the right answer is, but to be so familiar with it that we can explain it in a clear, precise way. And perhaps even have a short answer to a question if there's not time, or be able to open up our Bibles and give a long answer to the question if we have more time. But man, that is something I want to get a lot better at. And it honestly does take a lot of work. But oh man, the last part, do it with gentleness and respect. Oh, and I've seen certain people in the Christian TikTok world, whatever you want to call it. You know, I think some are genuine and some perhaps aren't. But I've seen people answer unbelievers, and I think a way that's not with gentleness and respect. And hey, these people might be very wrong, and they might have a bad attitude about it, but I believe that we're to treat them with gentleness and respect. And man, that's one thing I try to be mindful of, and I really hope I am. Now, sometimes, or perhaps a lot of the time, you give a biblical answer, and that's, you know, immediately assumed as like, oh man, you're just being a harsh, mean Bible person. And it's like, no, I just believe it's what the Bible teaches. That we're sinners, and the only way we can be saved is through Jesus. But sadly, that message itself is very offensive to a lot of people. Now, that being said, there are some people in the Christian TikTok world that give, I just think, great, fantastic answers and do so in such a loving, sweet way. And Instagram and all that kind of stuff. Hey, if y'all have any questions or want me to do videos on any certain topics, I mean, please by no means be afraid to mention in the comments below. So I am very, very new to this YouTube thing, and I want to make way more videos.